So the quote of the day is, start moving a step at a time, step after step. The positive momentum will take you from there. And that is from Sarah Ban Breathnach. I think that's right. It's spelled different than what it's pronounced. And I was like, okay, I gotta try and get this right. So hopefully I did. But the reason I picked this quote today is because if you've been with me recently, you've probably heard me say this ad nauseum, but like I'm trying to move past the plateau that I am at because I've been working on more regular small steps to create new habits and, you know, kind of get things feeling a little bit more comfortable across the board at work, with my family, the home, the content creation stuff. And I finally felt like, okay, everything's starting to feel like, okay, I can plug these things in here. I can do these little bits here. And it was like kind of just becoming like mundane habits, like I want them to be. I don't want them to feel big and overwhelming and cause me anxiety. I want them to feel like, oh yeah, I need to do that. And it's just part of routine, you know, that's the ideal for me. So I started going, okay, there are some things that I would like to work on. There are some things I want to dig into. There are some things I want to improve and some things I want to think about how they need to look going forward. So the quote is all about taking the next step, and then, you know, it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's generating momentum by taking another step. And that means pushing a little bit on things that I'm like, okay, I don't know how that works. The one I'm specifically thinking about is Discord, because historically, this is weird to think about my own history, Discord has given me a lot of stress and anxiety. Text-based communication always stresses me out. I feel like I'm much better face-to-face. I know a lot of people with social anxiety are the opposite. They feel like they communicate better in like forums and through text and stuff like that. I am the opposite. I usually feel more comfortable talking to people face-to-face, or in circumstances like this where I am streaming or creating videos or whatever like that. I feel like verbally I feel a little bit more comfortable. I don't know if it's my theater background. I don't know what it is. But text stuff always stresses me out because I feel like I get too wordy. I might have missed something. I feel like I have to jump in, and I don't know, it just always makes me feel awkward. So I've been working on trying to be in Discord more, to learn more about Discord, to work on things that I want to do, to eventually have a community server up. And so this last week I have been doing things like, okay, I want to know what this little thing is. I'm going to go dig into some information, so look up some tutorials, you know, and kind of do that. But what it has made me feel like is like, oh, I now know what I need to look for the next thing I want to work on, or I now have an idea for how I want this channel to look, or these, you know, things to look. And so it's nice to know that something that has been stressing me out for as long as it has, as Discord has, can still be conquered through those little steps, you know, just continuing to like chip away at the mountain of it. And it's just kind of reaffirming that my strategy works for me. And I think that's the biggest key I can recommend to anybody is try something out. And if it doesn't work out, either break it into smaller pieces or pick and choose the components that do seem to work for you and then try something else out. Like, you don't have to choose how you do everything and conquer everything today for the rest of your life. You can metamorphose over time and evolve your own personal preferences and style for whatever it is you're trying to conquer. And you can do it as long as you need to work on it, you know. And sometimes that's a lifetime, just kind of evolving it, and just because you change too. It's not like you are who you are for the rest of your life. You will evolve too. And so just don't get bogged down with like that doom spiral. You know, trust yourself enough to like say, okay, that didn't work, but maybe this will, or this part worked, but the rest of it was crap, or just didn't work for me, or whatever. Don't worry about whether or not someone else says this is the way you should do it, this is the way you have to do it, this is how it is. You're not them, and you can you can pick and choose. You don't have to follow someone's word like it's the Bible. Anyway, the only person you have to live with your whole life is you. So, trust you. Listen to you. Evolve what you need for you. And you can get to where you want to go. It might take a long time, but I kind of like... there are things that I think of that it's like... I'm trying to formulate what I want to say. And words are tough sometimes. I think the closest thing that I'm going to be able to equate it to that probably a lot of people understand is kind of gatekeeping when it comes to reading. I read a lot now, audiobooks, and there are people in the world that would say that's not real reading, only reading actual physical books is real reading, but that's not, that already cuts off a group of people who have sight issues. Like, what are you going to say? Those people aren't ever reading if they're listening to audiobooks. And what it really comes down to for me, and the reason I will never gatekeep stuff like that, is I want people to read. And if you start telling people that the only real way to read is by physically reading an actual book, not on a device, not listening, not whatever, they think is not reading, you're just going to cut people off from reading. And if the goal is to make sure people are reading, like wanting more people to read and be involved in literature, you making them feel like the way they're doing it is some form of shameful or not good enough, it just does the opposite. Maybe some people will be pushed to read more the way you think is acceptable, but you're going to cut a lot of other people off because they're going to be like, well, screw you then. I'm going to go do something else with my life. There's options out there. And if you want to be, and you're welcome to your opinions. And if that's, but what it really comes down to for me is I don't like the idea of gatekeeping, guilting, shaming people into behaviors that I think are positive. I want you to figure out how you work and be able to do what you want to do and live the way you want to live. And if that means that the way I clean my tub is different than the way you clean your tub, I'm not going to tell you the way you're doing it is bad, because what it really comes down to is that will lead to a cyclical, depressive, procrastinating state of feeling like shit about yourself, instead of, okay, well, just because you say I should do it this way does not mean that that's what's going to work for me. And instead of thinking I'm not going to be good enough if I don't do it your way, then, I'm going to figure out my own way. I'm going to figure out what works for me, what fits into my life, and how I need to build the habit up, because we're all starting at different points. Anyway, I get a little passionate about that stuff because I have been in doom spiral land and feeling inadequate land for too long. And the last couple of years, when I've really sat down and consciously looked at that stuff and said, you know what? I don't care what somebody else says I should be doing. How do I fix it for me so that it works for me and so that I don't feel like crap about myself all the time? And yeah, it's been yielding positive results, and I can give you advice and I can tell you stories about how I'm getting things done, about how I'm working towards those goals, but it's not a roadmap that someone else can just pick up. You can try what I try and see if it works for you, and trust yourself. But I'm never going to tell you that my way is the only way. I'm going to say, this is what's been working for me. Try it out. See if it works for you. And then modify as you go, because that's what it's about. That's how process development is, man. You try a process and then you modify it until it's just right. And be willing to change it over time. Okay, enough of my high horse, enough of my going on about stuff I go on about all the time, and let's get into some Bookshop Simulator. So, thanks for dropping in. If you want to hang out, I stream live on Twitch and YouTube Thursday evenings and middays on Sunday. I hope you have a lovely day, night, time, wherever you are, whenever you are. I'll see you next time.